What is up, guys? Welcome back to the BCM channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing my full 7-round mock draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. And of course, there could be trades and whatnot that happen during the draft, but this is, of course, going to be my just raw, just whatever picks we have. Those are, I'm just got to be going through each and every draft slot we have and telling you guys exactly who I think the Cincinnati Bengals should pick in each slot. Let me know if you want me to do any other teams. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Alrighty, so for our first pick, obviously, I really think this is the year. After all the years, I do think this is the year where the Bengals do go offensive line. First pick of the draft. I really just think this is the year. I mean, I'm not sure. It seems like we should have been doing that in years past, but I do think this is the year we finally go offensive tackle, unless like a Brock Bowers is back here, unless there's that one guy that's like way back there that we really, really want to draft. But who knows? Then again, like I said, the Bengals, they are known for drafting a guy and then kind of losing that position the next year. So like Myles Murphy, we drafted him last year, and now we lost DJ Reader, stuff like that. Obviously, they're not really the same position, but you know what I mean. Same type of deal. We drafted Chase Brown last year, lost Mixon. So you never know what the Bengals are going to do. But I think with our first pick, we are going to draft Amarius Mims. Unfortunately, this is not the best website, but this is the best website as far as like speed. It tells you a little information about the guy. But Amarius Mims, I know him a little bit from watching some of the Georgia games. Super good offensive lineman. Obviously, looking at some of his things here. 6'7", 330 pounds. He is a great run blocker, good pass blocker. I mean, he would definitely be a guy we could definitely plug in right away and just get onto the field. And I would love him, just to have another guy. I would love to have Amarius Mims. I think he would be a great first-round choice for us. So our first-round pick, I have the Cincinnati Bengals drafting Amarius Mims. Alrighty, so with our second-round pick, this is one of those picks. I think we could go tight end, possibly defensive tackle. But for me, I am going to say that we will end up going defensive tackle here. I just think the Bengals are not super concerned about their tight end spot. I think they like the guys and what they do. I think, we got Drew Sample. We got Gesicki now. It's guys like that. We got Tanner Hudson. We got some upcoming guys that I think they are fine with kind of, just having doing their job. Unless, like I said, Brock Bowers is, I think, an exception. If he falls back to us, I do think we would draft him. But so I've seen some people taking Jatavion Sanders in the second round, but I'm going to say we end up taking T'Vondre Sweat. I think this is a great spot for him here in the draft for us to draft him. Obviously, 6'4", 346. He's quick, he's fast, he's a good finesse move guy. And yeah, overall, I think he would be a great fit for us. And with my second round pick in the NFL Cincinnati Bengals mock draft, I have us drafting T'Vondre Sweat out of Texas. Alrighty, so now we are into our third round, and this is a round we have 2 picks in. And again, this is another one of those tough spots, knowing what the Bengals might do here. But I believe if this guy is here, and again, I'm just going off of course, this mock draft, I would say we are going defensive tackle for sure here. And we are going to take Tyler Davis out of Clemson. Of course, he played a lot of games. He's durable. He's explosive. He's very good at exploding plays. And yeah, I overall think this would be a steal if we could get Tyler Davis at this point in the draft. You see the clear drop off in their rankings of these defensive tackles. I just think this would be a great spot to draft Tyler Davis out of Clemson, or of course, possibly another defensive tackle. But I think Tyler Davis is going to be our third round pick, and on to pick 97. Alrighty, so this actually worked out perfectly. So this is, again, this would be a perfect scenario in the draft. Again, this is somehow, sometimes this is how it works out. I was thinking on pick 80, we might take tight end. But I was like, I think it's a little too early to draft this guy. But now, Ben Sinnott has dropped all the way to pick 97. Obviously, you see him 6'4", 245 pounds. Has a lot of upside. He is one of the quicker tight ends in the in college football. But again, he's a solid guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know too much about him, but I have seen a little bit of him, you know, whenever I did watch Kansas State this year. But I do think this could be a guy we could definitely develop, possibly get out there at some point. And I just think if the Bengals are going to draft tight end, I don't think they're going to go second round. I think they would be more late third round, going to the fourth round, stuff like that. But I think here we're taking Ben Sinnott out of Kansas State. Alrighty, so again, this is where these picks, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't say they don't matter, but they do start to get a lot harder to predict, obviously, at this point in the draft. But for round 4, I believe we would be going some sort of an offensive tackle, offensive guard. And that is why, in this situation, I believe we would take Layden Robinson out of Texas A&M. Again, big guy, 6'4", 320. He's a good small area blocker. Of course, I do remember there were some issues with him. You know, it would be like he'd have a really good play, and then he'd slip up the next. Again, that's something to obviously work on. But otherwise, he is obviously very good with his hands, very good on his feet. And I think this is a guy we could definitely try to develop into something, possibly in the future. And I just think this is kind of the draft where we can kind of solidify this offensive line and really just get Joe protected. Like, I think this is the draft they finally just say, all right, let's get Joe protected. We'll worry about the rest of the stuff, you know, once we get him protected. So I got them taking Layden Robinson here in round 4. Alrighty, so for a 5th round pick, I believe here we would be going safety. Of course, this is the best available on the board here. Again, I think at this point, we've kind of gotten the offensive tackles done, offensive line. We've gotten the defensive line kind of done for the draft. And I think at this point, we're going to move to the safety slot. And of course, at this position, in this draft, I do think we would probably take, you know, the smart thing I think would be to take Tyler Nubin, but there's a lot of weaknesses on Tyler Nubin. Obviously, in some of the Minnesota games, we see he's not the best on play action. He lacks speed, and one of his biggest problems is just being kind of reckless. He'll just go for the interception. He doesn't go for the tackle all the time. It just he lacks a little bit of that. And of course here, Terrence does not have a player profile, but in watching Arizona State games, he has fairly good field awareness. I think his speed's pretty solid. Of course he's 6'3.5", so he's a fairly decently sized safety. And I think he'd be a guy we will try to develop into something in the future. And I think with our round 5 pick, we are going to select Torrance out of Arizona State. Alrighty, round number 6. Again, this is where it is getting really tough for me to know what the heck we're going to be doing at this point. But I think at this point, we are still, when you look at our wide receiver, it's a little shaky. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Tyler Boyd. He's still here right now, but, pretty soon it's not looking good. So the wide receiver is going to be possibly, a priority for sure. I think, we got Yosavash, we got Trent Irwin. It's hard to tell how the Bengals internally feel about those guys. I could see if they don't really trust those guys like I do. I could definitely see wide receiver, being an earlier pick for us. But it's hard to say right now. It's hard to say. But I think at this point, in round 6, we are going to draft Jacob Coing out of Arizona. This guy, of course, there's no write-up on him. He's 5'11", 170 pounds. This guy would be kind of a pure kind of speedster, gadget play kind of guy. You plug him in certain situations. He's not big, But I think we could kind of use him in not a McCaffrey role, but like a jet sweep play, stuff like that. I think he'd be a good guy and stuff like that to start. And then hopefully, in the future, we can get him into more actually receiving plays. Like I said, he has speed, decent catching, of course, but he's not the greatest receiver, of course. But I think in the round 6, we're going to take Jacob Coing out of Arizona. Alrighty, with the next pick, this is our round 6 pick. We got one more round after this. I have us taking in round 6, Lydetrick Griffin out of Mississippi State. Of course, I don't know I don't know a ton about this guy. Of course, like I said, this, Mississippi State did not see a lot of them this year. Again, kind of another smaller guy, but again, he is super quick. He does have that big playability. Again, all this I think depends on if T stays, because if T leaves, I think we're going to be going for some probably. First of all, I think we're going to go way earlier in the draft for a receiver. And I also think we'd be drafting some bigger receivers. But overall, we have decent sized receivers. But then again, it all depends on who leaves here. But these guys, again, this is another guy that'd be great. Big play type of guy. You could plug him in. He might go unnoticed. Boom, he's wide open for a deep ball. Joe Burrow touchdown. This is another one of those guys. Decent route running. But overall, he is just a quick dude. And yeah, I'd say round 6, we'd take Lydetrick Griffin out of Mississippi State. Alrighty, so apparently we have 2 more picks. We have 224 and 237. And with this pick, I am going to say this would be a great spot to draft this guy. Dwight McLaughlin out of Arkansas. Of course, this guy came out of LSU, yes sir. I mean, he's not on the team anymore, but he's a actual solid cornerback. Obviously translated to NFL, that's got to take some development, but he's very good at jamming receivers at the line. He's a very physical guy, which I do think we can use in our cornerback room. I think we lack a little bit of physicality in some of the guys besides like Cam Taylor-Britt, guys like that. But I think this would be a great addition just to have possibly a little bit more physical of a cornerback. And yeah, I would say round 7, pick 224, we take Dwight McLaughlin. Alrighty, final pick of the draft. I finally got it right. Final pick of the draft. This is a spot, again, you're just trying to get the guy with the most potential. And I think at this point, this is a great spot for us to draft Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin. I think this is a guy who has positive upside, definitely for the future. Of course, he was a solid running back at Wisconsin for sure. And of course, with our running back situation, he would not even be close to a starter. But I do think, it's got to be a competitive backfield. I think he could find his way into some touches, possibly, depending on what he shows in training camp. Fairly physical running back, got good speed. Obviously, let's see. Yeah, it's a 6'2", 238, decently sized running back. Yeah. And with my final pick of my Cincinnati Bengals 2024 mock draft, I have the Cincinnati Bengals drafting Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin. And all right, here are my final picks. Let me know what you guys think about these picks in the comment section down below. What do you guys think we're going to do? Do you think we're going to trade up in the first round? Trade T. Higgins away, go big, go home in the first round? What do you think we're doing? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next one. Peace out. All right.